What's good, football fans? Back at you once again with another video. And today I wanted to come on and talk about a player who has a lot to prove in 2023. Now, Montez Sweat is 26 years old, and make no doubt about it, this young man is about to hit the prime of his NFL career. Sweat is set to make $11.5 million on his fifth-year option in 2023, which, the team decided to pick up last offseason. And keep in mind, his market could be anywhere from 16 million to 22, 23, maybe even high as 24 million, depending on what type of year he has in this coming season. And the team is pretty much set up this odd competition between Montez Sweat and Chase Young to see who is going to get that big extension next offseason, after they decided to not pick up Chase Young's fifth-year option just a few weeks back. Now, I realize they're doing it to try to push Chase in the right direction, get him motivated. Plus, they'd like to see that rookie year production come back. But one thing to remember is they can only tag one player a year. So if they can't work out deals with these guys, they can only tag one of them. And with the type of money that these edge rushers are getting paid now in the NFL, and the money that Daron, Payne, and Jonathan Allen are already making, the chances of signing both of these guys, it's seriously low. I have to tell you, the idea of two young studs, with the talent level of a Chase Young and a Montez Sweat, both heading into contract years where they need to produce to get paid, is absolutely nuts. I believe it can only lead to a huge year for Washington's defense. Now, taking a look at a few of Montez Sweat's stats, last year in 17 starts, he had 8 sacks, 28 quarterback hits, and 14 tackles for loss. And for his career in 59 games, he has 29 total sacks, 74 quarterback hits, and 37 tackles for loss. But one thing that I really wanted to point out was, for the first time in his career, last year, he didn't force a single turnover. Now, he had forced 8 coming into last year, 7 forced fumbles and 1 interception. And I probably, just like everybody else, have been waiting for this guy to take that next step and become elite. And to do that, to go from being, a good player to being an elite player, the type of player that gets paid, $22, $23 million a year to be an edge rusher in the NFL these days, I feel like he definitely has to start hitting home a lot more. With that in mind, let's jump right into the film. Now, we all know what this young man's capable of. He's got the strength of an ox and the athletic ability of a man much smaller than him. And as you see right here, not everybody in the NFL is able to contend with the set of skills that he has, as he's able to barrel right over top of his man right here and get the sack. Now, if he's able to do this every single game, we pay him and there's never a conversation even had here. This guy's hitting home 15, 16, 17 times a season. There's absolutely no conversation to be had. The problem, of course, is that yes, he is hitting home, and yes, he is wreaking havoc, but at the same time, he's leaving some breadcrumbs here and there, in situations where he really shouldn't be. And this guy is such a monster, and the defensive tackles that we put out there on the field are complete monsters, that you would like to see more production out of this guy. And, Ron Rivera made a really good comment the other day, and he was actually talking about Chase Young when he said it's a production-based business. But that can stand for, all of these guys, but especially these two that I'm concentrating this conversation on right now, or especially Montez Sweat within this conversation that I'm having right now. And number 87 for the Titans, we need that Scooby-Doo music, where you hear their feet going. Now, obviously, on plays like this, it depends on how they score it, but obviously, he can't do much more on plays like this. He can just get in there and disrupt, push his guy into the quarterback, and the quarterback falls down. So the end game there is exactly what you want, but you have to start wondering, is there more that he could be doing, on an individual level? And this play right here is kind of more so what I was talking about. You know, you get him coming off of that edge right there. He gets a good move on his guy, and somehow or another, Ryan Tannehill gets rid of the ball before he can put his hands on him. I have no clue how he does it. As you see, Tannehill, you know, the pass sails a little bit, so obviously, you know, he had to rush things. But I mean, he's just right there. Another situation where Montez is right there, like just a half second away from another sack. Now, surprisingly enough, this play right here probably should have been in the grass, but it was not called in the grass. But somehow or another, Tannehill gets rid of the ball there. Another example of how, you know, Sweat wins the play, but doesn't get, you know, to hit home and really get that sack, that, you know, that ending moment, that ending point that he really is looking for on this play. And he actually deserved it right there, because in my opinion, that was in the grass, but they let Tannehill throw that ball and get a completion out of it. Now here's another example. Now this one, he goes around the tackle, uses his athleticism to get around, and he almost gets on the back end of that play. If you watch right there, I mean, he's right there. I mean, yeah, he barely missed that. That Chicago game, really, there was a lot of missed opportunities for a lot of people in that game. If you see right here, I mean, he is just a half second off of getting the sack here. And I don't know if this is accredited more to Fields or just the fact that Montez is just a step away again. But, you know, obviously Fields is a dynamic athlete, and, you know, he has some pretty good tendencies, I guess. But you have to look at this kind of play and say, man, like, what could he do just to get him there a tick sooner? You know, maybe is it in his handwork there? Because it looks like he's doing pretty good when it comes to his move there on the lineman itself after the wide receiver chips him. Now this play right here, James Smith-Williams is coming in on the other side as well, but Montez hits home, but just a split second off. The ball comes out flailing like a dead duck, as you see. And, you know, Montez got his hand in there and smacked the ball, but just another second, and that's a sack, y'all. Look at that. I mean, just another second. Ball just barely comes out. I believe an elite level bull rush it can be an absolute thing of beauty if used effectively. And Sweat has this unique ability to be able to just shove his guy into the quarterback. And I saw it a lot from him in his film from last season. And as you see here, just a couple seconds late. Now, by now, you guys are noticing a pattern. He is like the king of almost gotcha. I mean, he got 8 sacks last season, but he is the king of I almost had him. Look at that. Now, like I said before, I know Justin Fields is, you know, a dynamic, elusive player, but look at that. I mean, you know, that's another sack right there, just by a couple inches. Now, this is the first time on this film that I'm showing you that where he actually shows that one arm shiver, if you would, that he pulls out every once in a while, which I believe could be his best weapon if he ever learns how to do another move coming off of that thing. Like, imagine him coming off of that one arm shiver right there and doing a roll, you know, rolling off or doing some sort of spin. I couldn't even imagine what lineman would be able to do with a guy that's that athletically gifted and that light on his feet. I mean, and he's missing literally by just milliseconds, he's missing sacks. That's the play here where Payne and Montez work well together and get their guys on their heels, and then Jonathan Allen comes in and gets that sack. But, you know, once again, this is all teamwork right here. You're coming in as 4-1, so if somebody gets the sack, then you're hitting home. But you have to see the frustration on his body there at the end there, him slapping the ground there. He's obviously frustrated from not hitting home the way that he probably should have there. I mean, he had his hands on that man and should have taken him down, but he just squirted away. And again, in the backfield, wreaking havoc, puts his hands on the quarterback just a couple seconds late. Quarterback has issues there, quite obviously. As you see, the pass has no accuracy on it. He has to let loose of it before he wants to on his back foot. I have absolutely no clue how Sam Ehlinger gets away from this at all. Montez has him twice, and he gets away anyway. I mean, the pass is still incomplete. But wow, I mean, You know, I don't know how this guy got away from this. Tez had him. Look at that. Right there, he had him, huh? And then, yeah, I don't see how he got away. Tez is really good at these inside pass rushes as well. He commands what he wants to do. Just tosses his man right to the ground. Boom. And it makes the hit. And Kirk Cousins is just barely able to release that ball. Just gets, I mean, if he didn't have the quick release that he does, he doesn't get rid of that. Nope. So if you watch it in slow motion, he just barely, I mean, just barely gets rid of it. That could have been another sack right there, y'all. And another one. Barely gets rid of it. As you see the replay there, I mean, he barely got rid of that. Just another quarter of a second again before Montez has his hands on him. He really put together some pretty good tape against the Vikings. He was all up in Kirk Cousins' face all day long. Cousins has that quick release, so he was able to get it out of there. But man, another couple seconds. Now, Daniel Jones has made a career thus far out of making Washington look silly. And this play right here had to sting a little bit, you know, because he had his hands on him and the man still completed the pass. You know, it's like, I don't know, Daniel Jones puts on a cape and a freaking Magic Man's hat or something when he plays Washington. And he can just do things outside of his guild, of actually outside of how good he is. Brock Purdy makes him look a little silly right here, but yeah, I mean, Tez just barely missed him right there. I mean, yeah, you got an athletic quarterback, an athletic player. He just overran the play. And it wasn't the only time he did it either, as you see. Thankfully, on that play right there, Daron Payne was able to clean that one up and get that sack. Now, here's probably the best example I have of Montez using that one-arm shiver to get in that backfield and wreak havoc. And he is just mere seconds away from sacking that quarterback. And honestly, from stripping that ball, actually, from causing a turnover, perhaps. Here's another one where he gets around the turn, almost gets the man. Hands go across him. You watch a replay right here in slow motion. Almost gets him. Now, this guy just has this special blend of athleticism that I'm not sure if we've ever seen anybody that's quite that size, that strong, and that fast all together at once. But as you see right here, he almost gets Lawrence here twice. He ends up putting a hit on him there at the end. But, I mean, that is just so close again. You know, the truth is the Washington Commanders need an edge rusher to break free and be the lead of that pass rush on that defense. A defense that already is top 10, should probably be top 3 with all the talent that's on that line. So it's a prime time for somebody like Montez Sweat to start turning the plays that I just showed you from quarterback hurries and quarterback hits into sacks and turnovers or forced fumbles or interceptions caused by the defense on the back end. This guy needs to start hitting home if he wants to cash that big ass paycheck next offseason. I mean, he could be the next $100 million man, but in order for Montez Sweat to become that guy, he's gonna have to start hitting home and putting up some numbers. Because as Ron Rivera said, it is a production-based business. Less than 10 sacks is not going to get you paid at an elite level. I realize that he is putting up stats in other categories as well, but the one that gets these guys paid is sacks. Now, I'm not saying a season like last year couldn't get him, you know, the franchise tag next season, but if he wants that big long-term deal, it's time to put some production up in 2023. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments. Do y'all think this is the year that Montez breaks out? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and if you hadn't already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I try to tell everybody, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any videos, hit that bell too, because it'll notify you every time I upload over here. Or at least it's supposed to anyway. Y'all take it easy. Peace.